good afternoon, good evening. Yes, it is Sunday, and yes, it is time for another live stream. Hello, everyone. I hope you are well. I hope you are all okay. We had a break. We were 1 week off. Interesting times. Now we're going to have to see if any of this actually works, because I haven't really even been doing that much studio recording in the last 2 weeks, although I've done a bit today, I have to say. So I am catching up on things I wanted to do. So tonight we're going to talk a bit about this and hopefully give you a little bit of an update on where we're at with the Goggles 3 and 03, because I know everyone is asking questions on this. We're going to talk about a new update for TBS Fusion, because this is really interesting actually, and this update is that it adds Express ELRS backpack support. Not two words you would have assumed go together, TBS and Express ELRS, but nonetheless, hell has frozen over. We will also talk a little bit about the BLHeli32, the situation, and the aftermath of it, and has the world come to an end, and where we stand today, because things still are very, very mixed. And actually, whilst everything seems to have gone quiet, things are still not quite where we were at, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And we will talk about anything else that comes up along the way as well. Now, I hope everyone is doing well. I'm just going to get my analytics lined up so I can see everything properly, because I didn't prep this. Good evening in the chat. Viewer activity, where are we? There we go. Hopefully I've got that working now the way it should be. There we go. So, I hope you have all had a good 2 weeks. The 2 weeks for me is bad weather, horrible weather. It has been horrific here in the UK. Today is another horrible day. Really, really has. I haven't really been doing too much on the bench. I'll be honest, I've been tied up with other things. But there are, I'm back, sort of back on the horse again. I took some time off, and now I've got to try and get back on the horse again. Surprising, actually, when you're making sort of content every evening and weekends, as I do tend to, you sort of, I'm really able easily to start and stop and sort of get lots done. Taking like 2 weeks out, my God, have I found it hard to get going again. Even just sort of putting content together, I found it really a slog. It's funny, you get out of your mojo and you're not as smooth as you were. And what I mean by that is, it's like I could record something now and then think, oh, I'll finish that tomorrow night. And I'll walk in tomorrow night for an hour and just carry on like that, as if I hadn't stopped. Whereas put a 2 week gap in it and your sort of brain starts forgetting everything you know. And you're starting to go, can I do that with this? Will that work with that? Am I able to do that? And yeah, it takes a little bit of time to kick in. But no, all good my side. It's been relatively quiet overall. I've had a load of parts in for the rover, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. And I want to get the FPV built up on that. I've also been trying to do some CNCing on the Snapmaker, although I'm at the stage of giving up with their software. The Artisan is a very nice machine. The software is really the limiting factor, and it's so much so it's even stopping me using it for FPV, frankly. And that is the number one problem I'm having with it. From a 3D printer point of view, it's great. From a CNC point of view, it's good, but you can't do what you need to do. And one of the big issues is the software just doesn't have enough options with regards to the CNC engraving. And what I mean by that is, for instance, if you were cutting an FPV frame, a top man or a bottom, top plate or a bottom plate, you would want, for dimensional accuracy, on the outside, you would want to go outside the line. And on the inside cuts, you'd want to go on the inside of the line. So your outside cuts are dimensionally accurate and your inside cuts and your holes are dimensionally accurate. So you would need to be able to program it to do different things. Now, the Luben software basically allows outside the line or on the line. It does now and again give you an option of inside the line, but what you can't seem to do is tell it, right, on the perimeter, outside the line, on the inside the line. And it basically stops you being able to use it for anything intricate. And the only thing you would really be able to do is if you designed your frame from scratch, you'd have to design it and choose the option of on the line and increase or take off the dimension of accuracy of the cut head. So the cut head is 3.16 millimeters. I think it is off the top of my head. So you'd have to take 50% of that or half of that number because you're going to go down the center line of it and increase or decrease your sizing as a result of that dimensional change, or the cut change, I should say. And it's just driving me mad, if I'm honest. It really, really is. It does take G-code, but it is their own sort of flavor of G-code. Now, I do believe a lot of people have recommended using VCarve. It's a $300 piece of software, but VCarve offers a huge amount of options. But unfortunately, from what I've looked at today, you don't have the artisan support in VCarve, as far as I can tell. Hit upon the same issues. Yeah, Caroline, it's particularly complex when it comes to, you know, what you want it to do at different places. You would either design the frame and just take into account the bit size and go on the line. That's probably the simplest way forward. But you then have to dimensionally... they have a lot of their G-code is their own custom versions of G-code. So their own code. It's G-code, but it's not published. You know, if you think of G-code is like, I don't know, C++. But if it's not published, it's not as simple as just pumping in G-code. They have their own flavor of everything. And that's where the issue is. It's not a bad mill. It's really the compatibility is the issue. If it was fully supported in VCarve, and I need to have a word with them, I think a lot of these problems would go away. Yes, you've got to spend $300 on a software, but you're always going to pay for software. Good software is always going to cost money. But yeah, it's little things like this that are driving me mad. And can you imagine designing a frame having to then recompensate every hole, every cut for the width of the bit? So I think it's 3.165 millimeters is the standard bit width. So you'd have to go 50% of that, which is just frustrating. And their software just doesn't move forward. So anyway, so I hope you're all safe and well. I think we will get on with the show. So the first thing to talk about is this. Now, this is the DJI Goggles 3. For those who don't know, if I go to the desktop, I made a very big letter that I published to DJI about the issues that myself and others are facing. The main issue in detail on DJI Forum, but I also posted this letter to DJI in many, many places. And the letter was published officially to DJI as you see it there. Now, DJI, from a support perspective, and I mean DJI support, have replied to me on a number of occasions on this letter, asking for a set of logs and probably wanting to issue me an SD card. However, DJI support wasn't what I was looking for. Now, I can confirm that a couple of good people I've dealt with quite a long time ago at DJI have reached out to me for a lot more info, and they have basically been passing it back and forth to the people who need to know. There is no question at this moment in time that DJI know about this issue. Okay? There's zero question. They know about it. It will be fixed. Now, there will be a beta. I don't know if the beta is going to hit public. Okay? There is a beta that is in the works. They're trying to get, someone has reached out to me with regards to that and a couple of others. And I think DJI are going to start offering this out in the next week or so. It's a bit complicated because there is a holiday in China right now, which is going to slow things down. We should have a fix for this by the end of the year. There's no time scale yet. I'm going to say it'll be sooner than later. Now, as for what that fix looks like, it isn't 100% clear. It looks like it's going to be goggles related, not air unit related. I'm not going to sit here and say 100% it's going to make it work as it should, because I haven't tested it. Right now, DJI are working on it, and I can't give you any facts until they release the update. What I am very confident of is DJI will fix this. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of posts and people saying things like, will DJI ignore this until 04? Is it a ploy for that? Look, it's nothing to do with that. This is a bug in the system. This will be fixed. Now, when I'm talking about it will be fixed, this is specifically the bug that results in a lack of reconnect when the air unit is armed. Okay? As for the issue of random disconnects, I think that's a lot more complex because you can't easily prove that. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. But here and now, just give it a little time, it will be fixed. There should be some news on it in the next week, 10 days, is what I will say. Okay? But as always, nothing is set in stone until it happens with DJI. I do want to say a big thank you to the DJI guys who've reached out, because I've dealt with them a long time ago. They're not people I've dealt with recently. Actually, I don't really deal with DJI recently. I'm fairly confident this will be fixed. I've been really open on this issue on the channel and saying if DJI don't get this fixed, I won't be able to recommend the Goggles 3 or with Goggles 3 period, because it's dodgy, but they are listening. So it is going to be resolved. Now, as for where does this leave people who have all said, my Goggles 2 aren't working with 03, I'm getting loads of random disconnects, we're going to have to wait and see. We don't know what DJI is tweaking in this. All we know is that they are going to address the issue where it doesn't reconnect, and that in itself may address the issue of the random disconnects as well, because what we don't know is how many people were having sort of micro disconnects that they didn't realize they were having, and you're only now realizing it as a result of it not willing to reconnect. And that is the issue as it is today. So the fix ain't here yet, but it is coming. It will be here. Look, 03 has been incredibly stable overall. I'm not even sure it's fair to call this an 03 issue. 03 in itself has been probably the most stable FPV system ever released. End of. From my perspective, I can't really think of too many issues there has been with O3. It has been almost faultless. It has been almost faultless, to be fair to it. So this is, in my opinion, more a Goggles 3 issue than an O3 issue. But I have to pair them together because it's those two when they're used, you know. But O3 genuinely has been phenomenally reliable. And look, you know, there is, without a single doubt, no question that DJI remains to be the most stable and easy to use digital FPV system today. Ignoring this specific issue, it's still hands down the simplest to use out the box. It just works. This is a rare and unusual issue. It is very bad, and as I have said, I believe it is dangerous. But once they resolve this, that's it. Back to normal, happy days. Everyone can carry on with their lives again. And that's it, you know. With regards to 04, no real news. Look, I'm not expecting it this year. There's been no new leaks. Next year. Next year is everything I know about 04 is next year. You know, A3S is next, most likely. Probably Mavic 4 by the end of this year. And then we'll get the new goggles this year, probably. Whether they'll launch this year remains to be seen. But 04. DJI has, you know, I'm lucky. Someone's saying there about Stuart UV Futures. I haven't seen his video. What I can tell you is this. I beta tested DJI FPV. I had DJI FPV before but I was probably one of 4 people to have it on the planet before anyone else. My DJI FPV goggles are pre-release. My original ones, I beta test. Well, actually, I alpha tested is the right term to use. The original FPV system. I've said this before. I was involved in that product when it was released. I created the Facebook group for it for DJI. If you want to see, there are posts from me on there dating back a very, very long time. Literally, the first posts on there are from me. DJI FPV has generally been the most stable period. You know, look, yes, in the early days of FPV, there was the couple of quirks to it, but DJI remained the #1 when it comes to link stability and image quality. HD0 is the #1 when it comes to latency, and Avatar HD is the #1-ish when it comes to sort of wide compatibility. But Avatar is not freaking stable, remotely stable. It's still lots of people having random issues with Avatar HD. VTX is still dying left, right, and center. CADX being CADX. There is no system that is as easy to use out the box and as stable as O3. It's it. That's it. It's just fact. Is there a problem with Goggles Integra and O3? Nope, nothing at all. Crack on. There are no known problems with O3 when used with the V2s, Goggles 2 or Integra. Crack on all days. This issue is only related to Goggles 3. Goggles 3 and O3. It isn't even with Goggles 3 and Avata 2. It's Goggles 3 O3. It's, yeah. So, look, when it's fixed, I'll be happy to move on with my life with this one because, look, at the end of the day, wait for Goggles 3 O3 fix or wait for 04. There's certainly either at the moment. Well, 04 doesn't exist today. So, you know, waiting for 04 is like waiting for the next iPhone for next year. You know, what do you need? If you need something now, then buy 03. If you don't need something now, then wait. You know, it makes me laugh when people say, you know, should I wait for this or do this? Do you need it? If you need it, you can't wait. If you don't need it, then wait. It's really that simple. There will always be something better around the corner. There will always be something cheaper. there will always be a deal, an opportunity, an upgrade. It comes down to, can you wait? You know, asking today, should I buy O3? My question would be, well, do you want to fly tomorrow? You know, because your O3E unit will still work just as good as it did when something new comes out. The only thing I'll say is this. What isn't clear today, okay, so goggle choice today is actually a little bit complex. It's not actually about O3. The complexity today is about goggle choice. So what goggles should you buy? I still firmly believe DJI will probably bring O4 support to the Goggles 2 and Integra. You won't get all of the features, but the fact they added Avata 2 support makes me think they will bring O4 support. So here and now today, Goggles 2 and Integra are probably still the best option. V2 won't get support, that's for sure. However, just remember there are limitations to using the Avata 2 with the Goggles 2 and Integra, as there will be with O4. You won't have 60 megabits a second, and you won't quite have the same image quality. I'm reluctant today, until this issue is fixed, to recommend anyone buys Goggles 3 for FPV use. Even for O4, until I've seen it for myself. I am very reluctant to recommend anyone buys these goggles until this issue is fixed. Once it's fixed, happy days. I will be more than happy to recommend these. But here and now, I do not recommend the Goggles 3 simply because until this issue is resolved, I'm not comfortable in putting my recommendation on that. Once the issue is fixed, though, crack on. Someone has said, in my opinion, DJI's lack of communication regarding this issue is not acceptable. DJI should put up a warning. Look, do I think DJI should have put something out? Yes. Would I have ever expected DJI to put something out? No hope in hell. DJI are not a company who admit mistakes. Like it or not, you will never get an admission of fault from DJI. So much so, right? Let me just show you this. Just so much so. This is the new firmware update that was released for the DJI Neo a couple of days ago, okay? So there's a new update. I haven't even updated mine yet, okay? So look, let's just look at the what's new here. Optimize positioning performance, fix some known issues. DJI will never tell you what they've done or admit to anything. This isn't about DJI not caring about FPV. This is about DJI never, ever, 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 ever admit what things are broke. They never have, they never will. There will be no admission of fault. There will simply be an update that will say something along the line of fix some known issues, fix some rare bugs. If we look at DJI Inspire 3, even on their biggest platforms, DJI do never, ever admit fault. They just don't do it. Then they will talk about what they've added, right? Added support, added support, added support. Look at this, right? So this is a classic about DJI. What's new? Added support for this, added that, added this, added support for this, added adaptive yaw, added all of this stuff, right? Lots of good. All the way down, fix some minor bugs. That's all they will ever say. It literally could have been drones falling out of the sky, and they will say, fix some minor bugs. The real one I should go back to is on the Inspire 1 release notes. If I go on the Inspire 1 release notes, there was an issue on the Inspire 1 where it was flying into walls, right? And all they ever said was fixed random bug in rear occurrence. DJI have never, ever admitted what bugs they have, what bugs they fix. They don't even do it on their enterprise models. Even when it comes to the Matrice 300, they don't even announce. If you go onto the release notes, do they even show the release notes for the... I'm trying to see if they... Decrypt tool release notes. Do they show the release notes for the M300? I don't even know if they do. Oh, they do show a known issue list. Oh, that's unusual on the Enterprise. Oh, see, on the Enterprise model, they have a known issue list. This is rare. But they don't on their consumer stuff. So, look, that's the score. There will be an update. It will be fixed. Beta will probably hit in the next week, 10 days, from what I've been told. And then we will wait and see what happens from there. And then I will be more than happy to continue recommending DJI Goggles 3 and 03, and then when we hit 04. At some point, we'll have the budget goggle this year. I call it budget, but we don't really know yet. So, go from unflyable to working, fixed some bugs. Yeah, oh yeah, and that's DJI all over. But look, it is what it is. You know, Chema says, well, that paints them as an untrustworthy aerospace company. It's nothing new. You have to make up your own mind. Don't expect DJI to tell you anything. That's fact. That's nothing new. That's how they've always been. It's the way they will always be. Now, one last thing on this. There are people who have obviously lost drones, crashed drones, and damaged drones. Don't expect DJI to fess up to this and give you anything, because they won't. Oh, actually, let me get wrong. If you complain, you might get an SD card. They really love to hand out SD cards, or they might give you a discount coupon, but most likely they'll offer you an SD card. But yeah, so 04, 2025, new goggles, 24, 25 probably. I'm not under NDA, so I can talk about these things. So yeah, simple as that. Okay, now if you've got any questions, please do put it in the super chat. FX Node, you hit the nail on the head. If the Integra is a budget, basically how much budget can they be? Look, you've got to take into account the Integra will probably end now. But the Integra really wasn't that budget. They were still OLEDs. Remember that. Integra is OLEDs. The next goggle will be LCD. Single LCD display. Budget. Well, DJI budget. Haven't spoke about BLHeli32 yet. Bamboo Lab massive sale, indication of new models. I don't know, genuinely. I don't expect to be included in any new releases. They'll be doing it through the 3D printing world. I might pick up some afterwards. I think we're about time something was coming at some point. You know, I don't know, but I would expect something new from Bamboo fairly soon. But there's no good leaks. I still don't buy the bigger build. Gave me an SD card. Yeah, they love giving out SD cards to DJI. No, we haven't done the Fusion yet. Fusion is next. Have the Goggles 3 now. Yeah, look, they'll be fixed. I'm not going to recommend you go out and buy them, but if you were sitting there saying, I've just bought them, should I send them back? I'd wait a little bit. It'll be fine. Hey, Randy, how are you? It will get solved. It will be fixed. I am 99% confident it will be fixed. From all of the noise I've had, it will be fixed. Fine with the Vata 2, absolutely. Issue only affects O3 Goggles 3. O3 Goggles 3 only. Yeah, they are. Look, they are a comfortable goggle. Genuinely, they are. They are a very comfortable goggle. I do like the Goggles 3. The cameras on the pop front are completely pointless, but I do like the goggles. The goggles are. They're the best goggle. My foam is broke on my goggles too. I need to get a new foam for my goggles too. It's just torn apart. And my HD0 goggle foam fell apart the other day, although I nicked the Sky Zone foam to fit them. Oh, sorry, I got a bit of a cold. Okay. Right, let me move some stuff. Nah, I don't think they're worried about their case. I don't think they need the money. They won't have any problems with that case. Do I have a video recommending how to start with FPV? Something for beginner that I can upgrade later? Not really, but what I would say is this. There are two drones that are probably the best value today, right, if you're getting into FPV. So let me do this quickly. So the first is the iFlight Nazgul Eco. The Nazgul Eco is just insanely good value, in my opinion. Although I broke mine this week in a weird way as well. I'm going to make a video about this in my O3 testing as well. If I can get the iFlight website to actually work. I don't know why the iFlight website struggles so much. But look at these. These are nice. Look at this. Oh, I want to look at that in a minute. Anyways, Freestyle Theories, DC5 Eco. Right, look. XL5 Eco. Version 1.1. 219. Just an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain of a drone. If you want to get into FPV, analog, well worth the look. Well worth the look. Probably the cheapest way to get in today. Also, the Speedy Bee was good value, but I think this is a little bit better, if I'm honest. 235 with Express ELRS. And I'm sure one of the versions is 199. Is it the... That's 400 with... I fly a lot of mountain surfing. Would you advise me to get GPS Rescue? Yes. Yes, I would. Get GPS Rescue up and running. Definitely. But look, that's the thing. Look at this. I've seen these the other day. Look at these new drones from iFlight. Some of these are very, very... Look at this. Oh. I want one of these. I really, really want one of these. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Someone just said they've released a little overpriced though. Yeah. They just released a new trailer. What, iFlight have released a trailer of this, have they? Let's have a look. I don't know which is the iFlight. Is it there? No. What's it called? Let me go back to the store. That is. Oh. So is it that? Is it that trailer there? That is such a nice looking thing. I would love to build up a bit of a big cine rig. Channel name is iFlight FPV. iFlight FPV. Let's have a look. Ah, there we go. Oh, you. Ooh. Introducing the Taurus series. Let me mute it. Let's have a look before we move on. I'm assuming it's this. That's not the new seat. Is this not the new one? That's not the newest. Okay, let's have a look. What's the newest? Go on videos. 9 hours ago. Here we go. Oh, we got an advert.
Trust Detto to start killing germs instantly.
Oh. That's what I want. The X8 Pro. Or the Pro Max. The Pro I'd probably go with. These are amazing looking aircraft. X8 Pro Max cine lifters. That's a hell of a drone board, yeah. So if we go X8 Pro Max, where's the X8 Pro? So cine lifter, so we've got cine lifters. So if they've got an X8 Pro, so that's the Pro Max, Centurion, X8 Pro. Oh, only $2,000 for the X8 Pro. They ain't even that good, yeah, they're not 12S. Let's have a look. Zing 3314s. It's not only doing so there's not a lot of info here, but it's a hell of a nice looking. Interesting pieces of kit. The Pro Max looks a very nice quad. That just looks a beast. X8 Pro Max. So that must be 8S, not 12S. You can build any cine lifter. Yeah, definitely. It's probably a project I should actually consider doing over winter. Redundancy power systems. You can even get a DJI Ronin on. Oh, very, very nice indeed. I'm just scrolling down just to see. Nice. Okay. So, the next bit of news is hell has frozen over. And I shouldn't say it like that. But, however, today, a day ago, a new update has been released for TBS Fusion that adds support for backpack functionality on Express ELRS that will allow you to control the Fusion module via Express ELRS Lua script, meaning that you can change channel automatically and your whole system will change. Now this means with the Betaflight integration, your quad will change channel and your receiver module will now change channel. Now, obviously, the Fusion module isn't made by just TBS. It is a collaboration between Brain FPV, Achilles, and TBS themselves, and it's an upgrade that enabled via the Wi-Fi. Wrong button. I have my borrowed module here. I've actually just done the update on this today. I'm going to put a video about this. For those who don't know, you're going to need to update the module in 2 different ways. You are going to need to upgrade the firmware on the module via USB, micro USB on the side, but you're then going to need to upgrade the Wi-Fi module firmware separately as well to allow it to communicate via the backpack functionality. So you're going to have to do 2 updates. I've sort of fumbled my way through this today myself. Haven't done it before. This module was actually on version 1.0 firmware. This does have the new hardware on the back. So this has the latest module. Although, I need to understand what this setting is. There is no hardware UART access required. No, it just works. You just flash the firmware and it works, basically. But it's really good to see. And I am gonna do a video on this. I haven't actually tested it yet. I've literally, just before the stream went live, updated the firmware. Just to show you this. So when you're ready for this, what will happen is you'll need to upgrade the firmware via agent, first of all. Mine is now already done. But if I plug that in, and if I go to the desktop and open up TBS agent, which is this here, we'll just wait to see if it connects. There we go. So we've got the agent software here. You need to make sure that you have upgraded to the latest firmware. So if I go under here, click on firmware, you're going to want to make sure you've installed version 2.39. So that is the latest firmware for the module itself. And if we click on the release notes, they talk about their added backpack integration, which is really good. But you will then also need to upgrade the Wi-Fi firmware. And to do that, you need to connect this via Wi-Fi to your computer. And then you need to install the version 3.0 firmware. So when I downloaded all the firmware files for this from TBS, you're after 3.0, which is this version here. And then when you release the release notes, ExpressRS backpack functionality and VTX sync support added. I'll come on to the super chats in a minute, guys. And you will need to flash that onto the Wi-Fi module. And I show you how to do that in the video as well. I've never done that before myself, but you need to connect to Wi-Fi. And then once you've done that, under the Fusion module, you should have a Pro option. And under the Pro option, you can go down here and at the bottom, enable ExpressLRS backpack functionality. And that is built in now. So that is very, very cool. Sorry, I was reading Podcast's message. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. But yeah, that sucks. And yeah, simple as that. So that is part of it. That's enabled. There is a bit of a process to doing the firmware. But if new updates are coming from ExpressRS Backpack, you can't update because you need to wait for TBS. Yeah, but it depends if it breaks functionality. Something interesting, and I don't know, does anyone else here know? Obviously, when I was looking through this from the firmware, does anyone know what this option here does? Hardware upgraded. Now, I am fully aware that there was 2 modules, receivers for these modules available. The early one and the late one. Now, I have the late one. Mine has the B on it, and mine has the different text down here. So I have the latest video module. Okay? However, on the menu system, there's an option here for hardware upgraded. Does anyone know what this means? Does this need to be turned on? Because it's an option. It would be a bit dull that you had to set the option in the settings. Ah, wasn't there a version without the ESP? Possibly. I don't know. But I just don't know what this option means. I know there was an option for an external power supply as well, but I don't know what this is. Really, really strange. But anyway, so they have added support for the backpack functionality. I upgraded this module today. This was actually still on 1.0 firmware. it's amazing how it's changed since I've upgraded the module. Let me go back to race. There we go. It would be awesome to get the lap timer to work. But yeah, I've got the latest firmware on this one now. That setting is also available. You should be able to buy one of these screens on AliExpress as well. If you need one of these screens, these should be available on AliExpress fairly cheaply. I wouldn't have thought they'd be hard to get. I just don't know how easy they are to swap. And then you just need to make sure that you have Wi-Fi turned on as well on the module. But it's really good to see TBS release an update for this. I do need to just check that the download from the TBS website for the Wi-Fi. So when you go to Team Black Sheep, so if we go to TBS, teamblacksheep.com, and then we will go and find Fusion. Not that it's ever in stock. And then when we scroll down, you've got your, where's the links? Fusion, TBS Cloud Fusion Wi-Fi firmware. So if we just download the latest one of that, download that one, does it have all of them? Yes, it does. So that has the version 3 in as well. So that's fine. So that's fairly straightforward. TBS are surely doing this to help minimize the support tickets for failed. You have to understand that this module is a partnership as well. It's not TBS only. So what TBS would have wanted versus what, say, the others would have wanted, Brain FPV and others, it's not quite as simple as Trappy or TBS saying, screw Express ELRS. Is the SpeedyBee module Fusion? I have no idea. I don't have one. I have no idea. Or is it just diversity? Let's have a look what they say. Dual receiver and proprietary fusion algorithm. Where would SpeedyBee have got a fusion algorithm from? I wonder. Can the TBS Fusion screen be DIY replaced? I have no idea. I wouldn't like to try breaking this one to be able to tell you. I can't see if it's soldered or goes into a connector. Yes, if it's connected to it. So Thomas Nerd just said you can update the Wi-Fi through configurator online if it's connected to your Wi-Fi. Yeah, I didn't do it that way. I did it. So are you talking agent? So TBS agent online. So are you talking TBS agent web? So let me close the. So the agent web connects, but you can do it via Wi-Fi as well, can you? Oh yeah, you can do it here, look, upgrade. Connect to Wi-Fi first. Right, interesting. SpeedyBee is bad fusion with lock, okay. that explains everything. So you can do it that way as well. I haven't tried doing it that way, but okay, that's good to know that we can. It's really good to see. You know, no complaints on this at all. I think it's really interesting. It's nice to see that TBS continue to develop. TBS are doing quite a lot right now. You know, look, TBS are sort of really back because they're releasing lots of new stuff. They've got a new ESC as well. The Lucid 8S, which was announced last week, if you don't know. So I made a video about the Lucid. They've now released a Lucid 8S ESC, which is interesting. And it's interesting in the sense of this, and I'm about to be a bit of a prick. TBS made a lot of fuss on the original Lucid that Gorilla Mount was needed because they didn't want to move the FETs. Yet on the 8S, they moved the FETs. Now, I'm not being difficult. But look, I actually quite liked Gorilla Mount in the end, if I'm honest. The truth of the matter is, I actually think it's quite interesting. But what is interesting is after all of that noise that we created Gorilla Mount so you wouldn't have to have this, they've now gone and done this. I'm just saying, that's all. But look, I think this looks one hell of an ESC. This is the 30 by 30, yes. So I guess they've got a bit more space. I would say, though, my only criticism on this would be the same criticism I levied on the other one. Doesn't look to be castellated pads. I really think TBS should do castellation on these pads on the sides here. I have installed mine into a frame. So mine is now in a frame. I just want to show you this, actually. Two things I want to show you. So mine is now built up. So you can see there, we're all in. Now, what I would say is this. It would have been a lot easier if it was castellated pads on the ESC there for soldering the motor wires to. It would have been a lot nicer to have soldered to the outside edges on this rather than soldering onto the top of the pad. I feel castellation would be better. Also, something I missed in the review, and I can't easily show it to you here, but I will show it to you on a picture, is you have to be really careful with the clearance on the power input wires to the ESC because of the Gorilla Mount. It is incredibly close. If we go back to the ESC, and if we go to this, right? There is, right, so where you see your holes here and here, you've got your aluminium standoffs for the Gorilla Mount that come over. Oh, God, I'm not on it. Right, so on the ESC, where you see your holes here and here for your Gorilla Mount, your standoff comes over. There is not a lot of space here for your motor wires, not your motor wires, sorry, your battery input wires. It is incredibly tight. Again, this could have been helped if this was castellated, because you could have then gone to the front of the board rather than onto the pad itself directly. I feel it's a mistake the pads on this are not castellated down the sides. I think that one little change would make these ESCs a lot better, in my opinion. A lot better. But you do have to be really careful, and I mean really careful. There is just so little space on here and here, and it doesn't really show it on this image. It's only when you build the stack up do you start to see it, and you have to be really careful. Otherwise, you could short battery to the metal post, because it's worth remembering these are aluminium standoffs that go across. I agree. I just soldered mine. It is really close. It is really close. So what you end up having to do is bring your wires over to this side of the pads in towards the middle. And I didn't really realize how close it was when doing the build. If these were castellated, right, I'd have gone to the front there and it would have been a non-problem. A non-problem at all. I also think it's a waste of the pads on the bottom with it not being castellated, because whilst there might be wires going through, I would have liked to... Yeah, where does the cap go then? Challenging. That's what I found. Trying to get the cap on is a bit of a pain in the ass. But yeah, and I didn't really find that in the video until I'd built it up. You can do it, but it's tight. But before I come on to the super chats, I'll be coming on to them in a second. I have to say, TBS seem to be on a bit of a roll right now with some new products. They're going to be upgrading all of the flight controllers to 8S moving forward. So with regards to the electronics, there's a new 8S ESC, but they are going to be upgrading the current Lucid flight controller over time to be increased to 8S from 6S. So at the moment they support 6S, but they're going to be upgrading them to 8S in the future as well. And they've also announced a new H7. There's a new H7 available too, flight controller. Again, single-sided board on this one as well, if I recall. Basically a single-side PCB. Yes, I might order one of them in to have a look at when it becomes time. Okay, now to catch up on the super chats and then answer some questions before we move on. So, podcast, thank you for the 35 ZARs. Right, let me just read it. So, what part would you suggest if I'd like to take my 5-inch analog racer and mod it to have a gimbal HD cam recording to the SD card on the drone? What part? So, you want to put a gimbal on it. Gimbal on an FPV drone won't behave well. The best thing you can do is get an action camera with gyro. Something like the DJI Action 2 would probably be a good start. I would consider getting something like this. DJI Action 2. You could try the new Rumcam Thumb 2. I have one here. I'm starting to do some testing on it, but yeah, but the gimbals, you're not throwing a cine lifter around. You're not throwing a cine lifter around, are you? You're not. You're mostly. You're certainly not bando bashing it. Is the term I mean. Juice Trump, thank you for €2.49 and then another €2 for fine. What about Gremsy Airsport plus Sony IXL? Yeah, you got Gremsy makes some good gimbals, just very expensive gimbals. I've not used the Gremsys myself. When can we expect a video? So Jimmy, sorry, to $10. When can we expect a video on how to get the Redaxer Zero set up and running for OpenIPC? My friend, you will have it on Wednesday this week because it is finished. I finished it today. It is done. Session 5 as well. Yeah. ML Edits. I have a question. Can you use the Goggles 3 with DJI because you can connect OpenIBC with your phone and then live stream your phone to Goggles 3? No, it won't work. The latency, even if you could get it to stream over DLNA, it would be horrific. No, not a way forward. The only way forward is HDMI input. DJI do not offer HDMI input. DJI goggles are not suitable for use with any other system. End of. Even if you could somehow get the DLNA working, you'd be talking hundreds of milliseconds of latency. Hundreds of milliseconds. How do I record audio in the field? On drones, Stu, or just when I'm out and about? I usually... I need a new microphone. When I'm actually out and about, I use my phone with a wireless microphone. But I want to upgrade to the DJI mics. I just don't want to spend 300 quid. At the moment, I was sent a set of these for review. Ages ago, and it is a long time ago, I was sent the Hollyland Lark to review. There's a review of these on the channel. And they're not the greatest mics in the world, right? But here's something interesting about these. They had a habit of really clipping when I used to record it on my iPhone. However, since I moved over to Android, they are working phenomenally. With my iPhone, though, they would clip. But on Android, they're working fine. They're good enough. It's actually a decent set of mics. I'll be honest with you. I think they probably sent them to everyone to review, Stu, at one point. And I did do a review of them on the channel. Because I do camera stuff every now and again. It makes me laugh because some people think I do. Look, I am a amateur photographer as well who owns a lot of cameras. Just a case of Android being better, yes. But what I would like is the DJI mic set. DJI, in compensation for the Goggles 3 issues, I'll take a set of DJI mics. 2s. I don't accept bribes, but I won't call you a bunch of cunts again, at least until January, if you send me a set of DJI mic 2s. Oh, yeah, and don't forget the obligatory SD card. The DJI Mic 2 is... I love the fact that they can record... I keep forgetting what it's called. What's it called? What's it called? Someone will know what it's called. Yeah, 32-bit float. Couldn't think what it's called. 32-bit float. And onboard. Because the onboard recording is really handy. So, okay. Have you ever worked on the Sony? No, I haven't. Not full frame in the field. I've not used the Gramsies. I can't comment on them. Look, a lot of people seem to use the Gramsies for their higher end gear. Gramsy also have some good integration with Sony. But yeah, I just don't know. It's not my area of expertise. Gramsy gimbals. You know, there are a lot of cine lift, not even cine lifter. You're talking big cine lifters with most of the gimbals on board. I know Gramsy has some good integration with the likes of Ardra Pilot, something like with that as well. They support Mavlink. They generally support UART. but I've not tested them. I have reached out to Gremsy a few times actually to talk about the products on the channel, and they've never even replied. So, you know, I would have been quite happy for them to lend me a gimbal to try. I would have really liked it. Okay, just catching down on the chat. Not quite rant time yet. But yeah, DJI mic. If you got a set, Stu, dig them out. They're not bad, especially with Android. They're good enough. Camera review, Sony ZV-10 II. Yeah, no, look, I don't. I use some not big cameras. I use enough mirrorless cameras to sink a battleship at times, but I wouldn't mind doing another set of mic review. It would be quite nice. It's been a while. I quite like doing things like that now and again. It's quite nice to get away from drones and FPV. I have reviewed the odd camera now and again as well. Focal point photography. How are you, my friend? Hope you're well. Okay. Right. Next subject. It's time to talk about BLHeli32 because, some time ago, BLHeli vanished. No, Stu, they connect via USB-C. BLHeli vanished. Now, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of what happened, but the reality is BLHeli32 is no more. Now, the industry at the time sort of melted down, and everyone was a bit worried about what's going to happen. But what is quite interesting in all of this is, first of all, the world didn't end. There was a fairly decent supply of BLHeli32 still out there. But what we have seen is a migration over to AM32. For instance, TBS are making AM32 ESCs. I have started to have a look around. So if you look on the likes of Foxeer was still selling BLHeli32 ESCs, although everything now seems to be out of stock. Well, not everything. What is interesting is there is still some things listed on their website in stock, but it isn't clear if they are officially licensed BLHeli32 or are these dodgy copies of BLHeli32 like we've seen from some other manufacturers. Now, what we do know is the likes of Sequoia, a brand that has sent me their products to review, has been pushing out ESCs with this dodgy firmware on board. When you go to the Sequoia page, you can see they do ship it with BLHeli32. And when you go to the bottom of their page, quite dodgily, I may add, right, all the way down the bottom, they have links for the dodgy version of the BLHeli32 firmware. So when you go right to the bottom here, you got a firmware upgrade section. Oh, no, it's not that one. I think it's downloads, actually. Downloads. No, it isn't. It's there. There we go. Sorry. BLHeli... wrong button. BLHeli32 and AM32. And they have this BLHeli32 firmware configuration tool listed. And when you dig into this, you find that it is the dodgy copy of the test activator 32.10 and 31.10. Now, unfortunately, we do know some manufacturers are still doing this. This should never have been issued to the public, but they are still selling ESCs with this dodgy software. SkyStars are a brand who have been involved with AM32 very early on. So SkyStars are probably one of the only real safe places to buy an ESC at the moment, who aren't definitely going to screw you with BLHeli32. But SkyStars are a really good brand that are worth checking out if you are looking for an ESC, because at least you know what you're going to get from them. It's still not clear with that dodgy version of BLHeli32 what firmware it is, how safe it is. I've not really seen reports of issues, being honest. I've not really seen reports of people saying, hey, my ESC has stopped working. What I have seen, though, is some Foxeer ones turning up with a dodgy firmware on. Looking around, though, nowhere on Foxeer's website have I seen the firmware available for download. I was looking for it, to be honest. I was having to sort of poke around to see if there was anywhere here with like that dodgy software available to download. I'm not seeing it listed on their website. You know, this is still saying BLHeli32. Wiring, soldering, but there's no download section on the website that I can tell or see that shows any dodgy firmware. So I'm going to assume most of what they're selling is correct, but it isn't clear. Diatone still seem to have some BLHeli32s. It's not clear to me if these are legit or not. I don't know what the score is. You'd have to order them and test. It worries me that a number of manufacturers are still selling BLHeli32 ESCs even now. It's just not clear. Hobbywing has a lot of BLHeli32 on sale. Someone said, I would be astonished if Hobbywing did something dodgy. ML Edits, please don't keep asking the same question over and over again. Some people have replied. When I come to questions, I will answer then. I would be astonished if Hobbywing were selling dodgy ESCs, but let's wait and see what comes up. I'm a little surprised there is still this much stock out there of BLHeli32. It comes with AM32 out the box. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. I should order one of these and see what comes on it, because Diatone still have a lot of BLHeli32 ESCs on their website. A lot of BLHeli32s. Yeah, no, I'm going to... I'm just going to... Yeah, I'm going to end that there. Was BLHeli32 open source? No, it was not. It's closed source. So we know some people are selling ESCs with the test version of BLHeli32 on board. It just isn't clear if these are legit. I'm shocked there would be this many ESCs around with BLHeli32 still available. I would be shocked if there are this many still around, because I would have thought supply stopped that day. But hey, it is possible. really, with regards to this, BLHeli32 is over. We know that. It doesn't exist anymore. It's over. It's not coming back. Everyone now needs to migrate either to AM32 or one of the other open source projects. AM32 seems to be the natural evolution way forward. What I'm a little bit disappointed with is that not more people seem to have got on board with AM32. If you look on Diatone here, it's all still BLHeli32. It just doesn't make sense to me why there are still so many BLHeli32s out there. And I'm a little bit worried about what firmware these are going to come with. I may order one of these and see what comes back. Hollybro has AM32. I'm confused. Why? What's going on? Same on Lumineer, someone said. Yeah, I'm intrigued what these are coming with. I think I will probably order in a few ESCs. I don't know what the postage is going to be like from Diatone. And I'm intrigued to order them directly from the likes of Diatone, not order them from a dealer or anything like that. What would the shipping be like? Let's just have a look. United Kingdom. What would the shipping be like to the UK? Let me just try and figure this out. Ooh, $12. Okay. That's okay. That's all right. $12 isn't too bad. So, with regards to it, you know, BLHeli32 is over. It's not coming back. It is endgame. What I'm just a little bit surprised at is there's so many ESCs still out there. It's crazy. But yeah, let's just wait and see what happens. What I would say is be very cautious of buying a BLHeli32 ESC today. It's just not clear what the issue is and what the situation is. If anyone has bought any recently, let me know. Because I'm really intrigued what the situation is. It's a little bit weird. I'm looking to buy one this second. That's interesting. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll order one in directly from Diatone. Do I think the Sky Zone 04X Pro are worth it? No. Way too expensive. I don't know what they're coming in at today. I don't know how cheap you can get them now. Again, with Sky Zone, Sky Zone are a bit of a weird brand, and there's another set of gotchas here with Sky Zone at the moment. I ordered mine from AliExpress when I got them last. So, Sky Zone, 509, it's ridiculous money. Ridiculous money. Also, they still have the quirks on the HDMI input. So my understanding is, whilst the display is 7 to 1080p, the HDMI input is still only 720p. There you go. HDMI, 720p, 100 frames a second. I don't think they're a bad goggle. I just think they're quite a lot of money for what they are. I think there are... Look, analog goggles are expensive, but it does come with a receiver. Yeah. There is that. It does come with a receiver. I guess what you got to compare them to is what is their price like compared to, say, a set of Orcas. Orcas are, you know, I think for me, you see, the interesting thing is this. Analog goggles are, you know, the bulk of the cost here is actually in the displays. So when it comes to comparing cost on goggles, it's not really that fair to compare analog to digital because the bulk of the cost is in the displays and the optics and the main driver electronics, which you need in all of them. Okay? There is also an argument to be said that, and this is an interesting subject. Okay, so people are used to analog FPV being really cheap. Okay, and the reason analog FPV is really cheap is that there is no real patent around the technology, and the chipsets we use in analog FPV are commodity chipsets made really cheaply at bulk because they're not just made for FPV. They're made for lots and lots of analog video use cases. So you have all these chipsets that are being made really cheap because there are parts of the world that were using these chipsets in analog CCTV, analog TVs, all sorts of other stuff. Lots and lots of stuff. Now, we are in a part of the time and a part of our world where times are changing and analog is actually falling away in all industries and digital is taking over. For instance, in CCTV, because these cheap chipsets that we're now using in OpenIPC are what are replacing these cheap analog chipsets that we used in CCTV. And you're actually going to start to see a time where the cost of analog, which used to be really low, and digital go up, is going to switch. You're going to see this happen, and you're going to see analog actually get dearer and dearer. Because as the entire world moves away from analog being a thing, the cost is going to go up, and digital will overtake and come down. And there is absolutely a world that I see where analog is price on par with digital. I can see that happening at some point. And when I'm talking digital, I'm talking Avatar HD DJI. I'm not even talking OpenIPC. I can actually see a world where we're going to have to start paying more. You know, Richwave make most of the chipsets, but there is talk of Richwave ending life of some of their chipsets already. It's already starting. So you're going to see a time where analog is going to get more expensive. And also, you've got to take into account that the cost of manufacturing those analog chipsets is going to get more expensive as well, because analog fab space is really expensive now. analog fab space is not cheap. And no one else is really doing it outside a very small number of fabs who are catering for the analog design and the analog work, because it's not easy to do and it's difficult. And you're going to see a time where analog is just going to get dearer and dearer because it's old and outdated technology. That's just a fact. So in some ways, the price of the 04X Pros isn't that bad. Now, would I buy the 04X Pro over HD0 goggles? That's a hard one. What's the price of the HD0s today? Let's have a look. So the HD0 is $599 plus you need a receiver plus you need an adapter. So let's just make sure we add up both things, and then we're going to have to toss on £100 for the receiver. Let me just go down. Let's find it. It'll be here somewhere. So £49, £29 for the analog bay, and then you're going to want a rapid fire. Okay, so you're talking $669, $769, $800. Right, let's just say $800 with an analog receiver. Let's be fair. Roughly, including postage. So $800 all in. Whereas you're talking $500 for the Sky Zone. Yeah. The value doesn't seem that bad when you look at it that way. $5, $6, you're talking $300 difference. Included, yeah, but that's if you want the HD VRX. That's the difference, isn't it? It's if you want that VRX. $300 does make a big difference. So that is where thing. DJI is cheaper than good analog. Oh, for sure. You know, this makes DJI look a bargain. You know, DJI does look a bargain today. That's, yeah, $300 is certainly not chump change, as someone says. That is. Yeah, that is a little bit. That's swung my opinion on these a little bit. That has swung my opinion on the 04Xs a little bit, the Pros. I'd like to see them a bit cheaper. Goggles 2 in an ear unit is a good deal. It really is. I run mid-tier. Yeah. And these are, you know, there are 040 Pros, 370. What's the difference with the 040s? 720 OLED displays. I think that is a better deal. Why would you not? Here's a question. So, how much better can the 04X Pro be over the 040 Pro? 370. That is a much better deal. That is a much better deal. I'm not convinced the 1080p display is worth that much more. Does the X have a better receiver? Yeah. Is it not got a steady view X receiver? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's not got the receipt. Let's have a look down here. 040, 040, 040X Pro. So, that's quite interesting. If we look on this chart, so, smaller field of view, 42 versus 52, but that might be okay for some. No, they've all got the steady view receiver. Yeah, and 60 frames a second. But it doesn't matter, really, if you're not using the HDMI input. As an analog goggle, I would argue the 040 Pro is a better goggle. I think the 040 Pro is by far the better deal. Interesting, it's got a different DVR. So the DVR on the 040 Pro is MJPEG versus H.264 on the other two. Why has it got a different DVR? And I think the 42 degrees is probably nice. I think the 52 might be too big. That's huge. Here's interesting. Because the 040 has got the H.264 DVR. I'm a little intrigued why the DVR is different on the 040 Pro versus the 040. Is the MJPEG better? It's motion JPEG. Yeah, I'd argue that's a better goggle. Interesting. No, I don't think it's better. Neither. Just reading down what the comments are saying. So far, so good. Okay, I'm just reading what people have said. Yeah, and I do wonder how good the upscaler is on those 1080p displays. You know, remember, you got a 1080p display there, so you're having to upscale the analog input. How good is the upscaler is my question. Look, you got an upscaler on 720p as well, but I wonder how good the 1080p upscaler is. HD0 DVR is very good. Reports seem okay. Fair play. A little off topic, but would there be any new generations of HD0 goggles anytime soon? Okay, so this will be our last subject tonight, actually. Carl has announced that he, Carl announced it on a interview, that he is working on a budget goggle. I don't know what we know it is right now. I don't know if it's fair to call it a box goggle, but he is working on a budget goggle for HD0. My understanding, not from Carl, because I've not been told anything by Carl, is that it will have analog input as well. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if it was based around the HD0 monitor, maybe even the same display. If I was doing it, that's what I would do, is I would build it around that display and use lenses. But he could be using a different display. I don't know. But Carl is working on a budget goggle for HD0. So, yeah, it really is as simple as that. There's not a lot more to say other than that. We don't know when. We don't know how long. It'll be good to have another goggle for HD0. I've still got the Scout HDs here, which were the Fat Sharks for it. I don't know if he is. I know what I would do. I would use the display from those, because that'll help with volume, cost. You know, I don't know, but that's what I would do. I would use the same display personally, if I was going to do it. with 4 antennas. I don't know for sure. I just don't know. Is it going to have 4? Is it going to have 2? He said it's going to have 4, is it? Okay. So that'll put the cost up a little bit because he's got to double up on all the chipsets. But yeah. So HD0, more goggles to come. Right, guys. I'm going to wrap this one up there. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me tonight. If you're new here, please consider checking out the links to my Patreon as well as buying me a coffee. When there is an update on DJI, I will be telling you guys soon. Look after yourself. Stay safe. We should be back again, same time, same place next week. And when there is more to be said on DJI, I will release a video. And hopefully there will be some videos coming from me this week. So I will speak to you all soon. I'm now trying to find the buttons to end a live stream. You can never end a live stream. What words am I going to end a live stream on? Well, let me think about it. Oh, one last thing. iFixit dropping LTT over LTT releasing their own screwdriver. I think that's quite crap of iFixit, and I use my iFixit drivers on this channel. I think I'm going to replace this with an LTT precision screwdriver because I think that's rather shit of iFixit. Because whilst LTT do make a precision screwdriver, they don't make everything that they make. So instead, I think I'm going to order myself as a Christmas gift the LTT screwdriver. Anyways, good night.